Welcome to part 4 of our Flutter and GetX quiz application tutorial series. In this part, we will be adding the functionality to the admin dashboard that allows admin to create and manage questions within various quiz categories. Let's dive right into the code and see how we can enable admins to add questions to their quizzes. As you can see, the admin dashboard provides a list of quiz categories, but these categories are hard-coded. In today's video, we will be just adding the functionality where admin can add a quiz category by just clicking this button, and it will be just added to our local storage. In our case, it will be shared preferences. So we will just save it into our shared preferences, and we will be just getting it back from the shared preferences, and we will be just showing it to our dashboard screen. And when admin clicks on any category, it will be just moving and redirecting to another page, which we will be just allowing admins to add questions to that category. So let's just begin with that. So first we need to just create our model. With the help of that model, we will be just creating the questions, and we will be just saving them into the local storage, which will be shared preferences in form of JSONs, and we will be just creating that in a second. So we will be just creating our model. In our models directory, I'll be just creating a new file here, and which will be questions model dot dart, and I'll be just creating a basic class, which will be the class, and it will be question, and that's it. Now I'll be just creating the mm, fields what we require for our questions. So for that we need an ID which will be unique, and a question, simple, a basic question, and what category the question is coming from, and the options and the answer. So we will be just creating final int id, and which will be final string questions, and the other one will be basically final string category, and the other one with which will be the options. Basically it will be a list, so we will be just adding 4 options for a question. So for that reason we will be just making a list of our options, which will be type of string options, and at last we will be just also adding an integer. We will be just providing the answers index number, which answer is correct basically. So I'll be just adding an answer, so we will be just getting that. So now we need to just create a constructor for our class, so we will be just doing that. So for that we will be just writing the question, and inside this bracket we will be just adding that. So for that we will be just using the required this dot id, and we will be just adding all the required fields in our constructor basically. So that's it. So I'll be just cutting it from here, and I'll be just pasting it here. So we will be just making this required, and that's it. Our constructor is ready. We have just added all the required fields which are required. So I'll be just creating JSON for with a function to JSON from. With the help of this we will be just saving our questions in form of JSON to the local storage. So that will be map, and the type will be string, and dynamic, which will be the name will be to JSON, and that's it. We will be just defining the body. So what we will be just doing, so we will be just returning these questions basically. So we will be just adding the category will be this category basically, and the ID will be this ID, and that's it. So now we want to get the saved question from the local storage also. So we also need to create a function which will be from JSON. So we will be just creating that also. So for that we will be using a factory. What this factory basically does, it will be just not creating an instance of our this class when we call this function. So it will basically just return this the existing instance. So we will be just creating the factory constructor of our question, which will be from JSON, and it will be a type of map, and the map will be the string and the dynamic type, and it will be, and now we will be just returning our this question, return question, and now we require these also. So we will be just returning our this to JSON question, which will be JSON, and the we will be just returning the category basically. That's it. So we will be just doing the same thing for all of them. So I'll be just moving fast. So yeah, we are done by creating a to JSON function and a from JSON function. So with the help of this model, now we will be just saving our quiz category and the questions into that category, and we will be just getting it from our local storage. So we will be just installing our shared preferences package first. We will be just going back to our dev pub.dev, and we will find the shared preferences package from our pub.dev, which will be shared preferences, and I'll be just searching for that, and we will be just using the first one which has the most likes. So we will be just going to the installing tab, and for that we will be just copying this, and now we will be just saving our this into our pubspec.yaml file under the dependencies. So I'll be just saving that, and it will just install it for us. So yeah, we will be just waiting for some seconds while it installs. Yeah, that's it, it is installed in our pic in our project. So I'll be just closing this from here and back to my quiz category. So for that we need to also create some functions in our controller to control the saving things and getting things. So we need to use our controller as we are using the MVC pattern of getX. So with that rules, we need to just and add our all controllers, all the controlling things which are we are getting it from our local storage, or we are saving it in our local storage. So we need to just uh, create a controller for that. So we will be just creating a controller which will be questions controller, question controller dot, and that's it. Now I'll be just creating a class which will be question controller. As you know that when we create question or controller in our getX, we need to extend it with getX controller. So that's it. Now we have just created a controller. So we will be just now simply creating some necessary things, so we can be just able to uh, add our question into our shared preferences, and we will be just also creating some kind of category thing, so we should be able to save our categories um, in our shared preferences, and then we will be just able to get it back from the shared preferences. So for that we will be just first creating some questions, so we will be just using the list. As you know that we the questions will be a type of list, so whatever question will be created by admin, so it will be just be saved into our this question list basically. So we will be getting it from this list. So we will be just creating a list of type our question model basically, as we have just created before. So we will be just creating that, so it will be questions. So that's it. As you know that it is, we have just made this private, so it is a good practice. We should make our variables private, so it should not be accessible outside of this class. So we need when we want to access this from outside of this class, so we need to make the getter function of this. So we will be just adding that getter function, so which will be list, and that will also be a type of question, which is basically the model which we have just created. And we will be using the get keyword for creating getter functions. So what will be the questions which will be returned by this question. So that's it, we have just created a question, so it is asking us to make this field final, so let's just make it final. So we have just created our question list of type of our question model. So now we will be just moving towards the admin dashboard, which will be the function of admin dashboard. We will be just creating all the admin dashboard functions and admin dashboard codes under this comment, so we should just recognize our coding or the codes easily. So let's just do that. We will be just creating the category title and the subtitle. So as you know that when admin creates a category, it requires a title and the subtitle, so we need this mm, text form field a text controller. So we will be just creating it in our controller file, so we will be just getting it from our controller file into our dashboard. So for that we will be just creating text editing controller, and the category we will be just name it category title controller is equal to text editing controller. And that's it, I'll be just copying this and pasting this, and it will be the category subtitle. Now subtitle. So I'll be just moving this, and that's it. We are done for that, and now we will be just creating a function, so we should be able to save our this category into our shared preferences. So for that we need to create two lists, which will be basically one list for our category title and one list for our category subtitle. Whenever admin creates a new category, it should be stored in our list, so we will be just getting them from our list back to show that on our screen. So we will be just creating two lists. Basically it will be the type of Rx, which will be reactive, which will be coming from our getX controller. So the reason for making this data type reactive, so when an admin creates a category and save it, so it will, when we are just getting it back from the shared preferences, so the screen should be refreshed automatically. So that is the reason we will be using our reactive data types of getX to just rebuild the screen as changes occur. So we will be just creating rx list, and that will be the type of string, and we will be just naming it saved category, and saved categories basically, and that's it. We will be just typing the string, and we will be just making this observable. So whenever some changes occur in this list, so it will be just make it observable to make changes happen on our screen. So for that we will be just creating another list, and which will be the categories subtitle. And that's it. We have just created the two list of our reactive data type, and we have just made them observable, so whenever changes occurs, the screen will be rebuilt according to that. So now we will be just creating a simple function, so we can be just able to save uh, the categories into our shared preferences. So for that we will be just calling the using the void and save questions category to shared preferences. Yeah, that's it. So as you know that when we just click on this create, it will just take some times to save it into our local storage. So for that reason we will be just making using the shared preferences, which will be await function or the future functions thing. So we will be using the async keyword to make, and our async and await to make this await for a seconds, for some seconds when it patches, or just save the category into our local storage. So for that we will be just getting our shared preferences instances. So for that we will be just using creating a variable, and we will be just making this await, and we will be just creating the shared preferences instance, which will be shared preferences, and we will be just getting get instance, and that's it. So now we will be just, whenever this saved question category to share preferences is called, so we will be just adding all the categories into our save categories and the saved subtitle. So let's just do that. We will be just calling our save dot categories and dot head, which will be the category title controller dot text. So basically we will be just getting the text editing controller, this controller text, and saving this into our saved categories. That's it. So now I'll be just copying this, and now we will be just uh, adding the subtitle, which basically subtitle, it will be saving the subtitle into our subtitle list. So basically we will be just doing that, and we will be just saving that to our subtitle uh, list, which will be our category subtitle controller.txt. And that's it, we are done. So I'll be just saving this for now, and now we will be just, and we will also be just creating two string for which we will be just naming it in form of keys. So we will be just saving our these categories and this title in form of paired and keys, so we will be just making that. So when we want to access the category title and the subtitle, so we should be able to access them back. So for that reason I'll be just creating a string, and that will be category key, and the key will be our category key. Sorry, category title will be fine, I guess. And that's it. Now I'll be just copying and pasting this, which will be category, and the name will be the subtitle key, and this will be subtitle will be fine. So that's it. I'll be just saving this back and going back to my this save function. So now I want to just set the list basically in form of my key and pair. So we will be just using this key. Here's our key, and this title is our value. So for that we will be just using the await function, so it will be just taking some kind of time. So we will be just calling our shared preferences instance, and now we will be just using the set string list. So basically we will be just adding our this key as our category key. So we will be just getting our the value from our list basically. So we will be just calling our saved category, and we will be just also doing it for our saved subtitle also. So I'll be just copying this, and I'll be just copying this, and I'll be just pasting it here, and now we will be just getting our subtitles from this list. So I'll be just calling that. So yeah, now we will be just clearing our controller, which will be category controller dot clear, and we also just want to clear our subtitle controller also. So we will be just using that category title controller, and we will be just making that clear also. And here we will be just putting some kind of this, and now we just want to, when this function is called and this data are saved, so we also want to show some kind of message to the user that your category has been successfully added. So we will be just using the get utility, which will be get utility get dot snack bar, and on the snack bar I'll be just showing a message which will be saved. And now I will be just showing the message category created successfully. And that's it, we are done by creating our saved question category to shared preferences. So now we will be just doing and creating this dynamically. So let's just move towards our admin dashboard page, so we will be just able to create them. So when we just click on this button, so we will be just using these. When create button is clicked, so it will be just saved to our shared preferences basically. So now we want to just get all the functions and all the things from our question controller class, so we just need to create an instance of that. So for that reason we will be just creating our question controller instance, which will be question controller, and that will be question controller is equal to get dot port. So we will be just using the get dot port to just to start our controller basically. So we will be just using the question controller here, and now that's it. So that's it, we have just created our question controller instance, and now we are just getting this dummy list, so which we have just hard coded it with 100. So we are just getting 100 item of place. So First, we just need to implement the save functionality. So we will be just moving towards this. When we just click on this create button, so the category should be saved into our local storage. In our case, it is shared preferences basically. So yeah, let's just move on our confirm text. So here we will be just calling our save. uh, so here we will be just calling our date function which we have just created, so which we will be just getting it from our this question controller instance which we have just created, and now we will be just calling this function basically. And that's it, we are done. Now when we just click on this create button, when it is saved, so it will be just uh, go back to our main screen. So just close this dialog box. That's it, we will be just writing the get.peg. So that's it, we have just now called our saved question category to shared references. When this on confirm button or this create button is clicked, this function will be just called, and whatever the title and the subtitle will be, it will be just saved to our shared preferences. So let's just check that. So we will be just creating a new category here which will be test. This is the test quiz. Now when I just click on this create button, uh, will be saved to our local storage which is shared preferences in our case. And that's it for this video. We have just added the functionality to create the category where admin can be able to just create quiz categories and save it into our local storage which is shared preferences. In the next video, we will be just adding the functionality to add the questions into that category, and we will be just loading the categories into our admin dashboard dynamically, and we will be just loading the categories into the user quiz category screen also. So so if you are finding this tutorial helpful, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any updates. You can also connect with me on social media, and don't forget to join our community on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp group and channel. Thanks for joining us in part 4. We are making great progress and we can't wait to see you in the next part. Until then, happy coding with Flutter.